Crime is a major issue here in the Western Cape. In just this week alone, there have been several shootings resulting in a number of deaths, several shootings in Kraaifontein as well as other areas here in the Western Cape. And the DA in the province is hosting a briefing today where they will be discussing possible measures that can be implemented to combat this high scourge of crime that we are seeing here in the Western Cape. Joining us now, we do have the Mayoral Committee member for Safety and Security here in the city and DA member JP Smith to talk to us a bit more about what actions could perhaps be implemented and taken to bring down this high level of violence that we are seeing in the city. JP, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Good morning.
So perhaps let's just start with, there's been such an increase in violent activity and shootings over the last few months. Just as the party and as the Mayoral member for Safety and Security, just what sort of plans do you think are needed to combat it?
It's impossible not to be affected by what has been going on. Some months ago, we also discussed with SABC this issue. As a consequence, we have made in excess of 200 officers extra per day available to just support them in gang operations. Not all the other stuff, not the 1,300 LEAP officers in the crime hotspots across the city, just responding to the gang violence flare-ups. We have over 200 officers per day, 230, up to 280 a day, working with SABC in these 11 priority stations and under the control of SABC. This is a massive crisis for us, but even with the additional boots on the ground, we can see that it is not having a significant impact. And that is because I think by now, all of us realize that even with a state of emergency, or if you bring in the military, those will be temporary fixes. What you are going to have to do is achieve convictions. You cannot, with a very nominal, a tiny conviction rate, prevent those people killing from doing what they do all the time. You're going to have to convict them. Let's look at the horrible death of the infant in Bonteheuwel. That baby was murdered that murder involved two men. One of those men was charged with a firearms-related offence in 2016 and again in 2019. Managed to escape conviction on both those matters. State was unable to build an effective case in both cases. And that person was therefore free to be on the street and commit this further murder. So we should not be surprised that person has a track record. He should not be free. Look at the massive gang violence in the Deep South, in Steenberg, and across the road in Lavender Hill. One gangster released, 13 murders followed that. Again, that gangster released because a criminal case for murder did not stick and was not effectively prosecuted. So these things have very real-life consequences. Out of every 100 firearms the city manages to get off the street, we see convictions for 5 in the criminal justice system. 95 of those shooters walk free. We've taken 2,369 guns in the last 4 and a bit years off the street. Do the math yourself. That is a very significant number of shooters who keep on managing to get recycled. So we're saying if the South African police and national government do not have the capacity to investigate these cases effectively and ensure that they get to a prosecution-ready case to court, then let local government help. Not just the City of Cape Town, all local government across the province and across the country. Many of them are ready to do so and want to do so. We have these conversations at the Institute for Municipal Public Safety and elsewhere. So I think there is an appetite from local government and provincial government to step up. We're seeing Gauteng do similar things to the Western Cape out of the same frustration. And I'm confident that that will help us get a higher conviction rate, keep these shooters off the streets, and prevent the kind of flare-ups that we are seeing now.
And when we look at the sort of investigations that the city would perhaps be looking into, can you maybe just give us an idea of what offences, if it's possible for that devolution of power, or what offences would the city police be looking at?
Those offences where we are the arresting officers. So primarily those are going to be, in terms of this particular situation, is the firearms used to cause this carnage, the drugs that fuel the gang economy, and then in terms of things like our core business, things like metal theft arrests and drunk driving arrest in traffic and law enforcement. Remember, those are our core constitutional competencies, is enforcing our bylaws and doing traffic enforcement. So even there are investigative processes that we need to conduct, which are leading to people and drunk drivers getting back on the street and then later on killing somebody else. South African road death toll is amongst the worst in the world. We are worse than many of our African neighbours to the north of us. And I mean, those are astonishing figures. So we absolutely have to do something. All of that is needless loss of life. And again, investigative capacity will help. Many of these municipalities are ready to step up.
The city and the province met with the police ministry, the police minister, Firoz Kachale. Just was that issue of devolution, just were you happy with his response to that, and were you happy with what came out of that meeting?
Very encouraged. He had expressed he had clearly thought about the matter. He's clearly given it some analysis. He said that he was not closed to the option at all. And we also obviously discussed the stalling of the agreement. A year ago, we signed a protocol to define the areas of cooperation that we would move towards. That was meant to be backed up by an implementation agreement. That thing has stalled, and obviously the primary conversation with him was around the gang violence, and secondly, around the stalling of this implementation agreement, because that needs to move rapidly, and we got a very positive response on both those issues.
Okay, and then lastly, maybe just with regards to the 700 new Metro Police officers who are now being deployed, maybe just what sort of functions will they be performing? What impact maybe are they expected to have?
I think that will differ very much from ward to ward. Yesterday we introduced 25 new officers to Khayelitsha. In addition to the LEAP members that are there, some wards are covered by LEAP, some will be covered by the neighbourhood safety officers in Metro Police, but they'll be in every ward in the city, and each ward has its unique problems. So we're wanting to lift the quality of that enforcement for all of our residents. And I mean, tonight I'm going to go and introduce another group to the local councillor and neighbourhood watchers. So we're making sure that they get embedded with those neighbourhood watchers early on and work together right off the bat.